A mother worked 3 jobs for 6 months to pay for her daughter's dream wedding. When she collapsed from exhaustion during the reception, what she heard when she woke up would break her heart forever. Welcome back, dear viewers. Before we begin this powerful journey, please hit that like button and subscribe to Black Tales Everyday. Drop a comment below telling us where you're watching from. Are you in New York, Toronto, perhaps Accra, or Kingston? We want to hear from you. This is a story about sacrifice and gratitude, about the things we take for granted, and the moment when everything becomes clear. It's a story about a mother's love and a daughter who almost lost everything before she learned what truly mattered. Diane Mitchell stared at the computer screen in the hospital break room, her eyes burning with exhaustion. It was 2:47 in the morning, and she'd just finished her shift as a custodian at Chicago Memorial Hospital. Her back ached from mopping floors. Her hands were raw from cleaning chemicals. But she couldn't go home yet. She had work to do. She opened her bank account and looked at the numbers. Another paycheck deposited. Another small step closer to the goal. $80,000. That's what her daughter Ashley's dream wedding would cost. And Diane was going to make sure Ashley had every bit of it. You're still here. Gloria Parker, Diane's best friend and a night shift nurse, appeared in the doorway. Her face showed concern mixed with frustration. Diane, you need to go home. You've been here for 12 hours. I'm fine, Diane said, closing the laptop quickly. Just finishing some paperwork. Don't lie to me. Gloria sat down across from her, her expression serious. I know what you're doing. I know you took on that 3rd job at the catering company. Diane, you're going to kill yourself. Diane smiled, but her eyes were tired. So tired. It's only for a few more months. Just until the wedding. Ashley doesn't even know you're paying for it, does she? The question hung in the air. Diane looked away, unable to meet her friend's eyes. She thinks Marcus's parents are covering everything, Diane admitted quietly. I told her they offered, and she believed it. She was so relieved. She kept saying how embarrassing it would be if she couldn't afford the wedding her friends expected. Embarrassing? Gloria's voice rose with anger. What's embarrassing is letting your mother work herself to death while you don't. Diane held up a hand. She's my daughter. She deserves a beautiful wedding. She deserves to be happy. Gloria sighed, shaking her head. When was the last time you slept more than 4 hours? Diane couldn't remember. The days had blurred together into an endless cycle of work, sleep, work. She'd wake at 5 in the morning to prepare breakfast for the catering company. Then she'd rush to her shift at the grocery store, stocking shelves and running the register. Then the hospital from 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. Then home for a few hours of restless sleep before starting all over again. I'll rest after the wedding, Diane said, standing up. Her legs felt like lead, but she forced them to move. I need to get home. I have to be at the catering company at 6. That's 3 hours from now. I know. Diane grabbed her coat, worn and faded but clean. But this is what mothers do, Gloria. We sacrifice. That's what love looks like. As Diane walked through the empty hospital corridors toward the exit, she thought about her daughter. Ashley had been such a sweet child once. Thoughtful and kind, always wanting to help others. But somewhere along the way, things had changed. Maybe it started when Ashley got the scholarship to Northwestern University. Suddenly she was surrounded by wealthy classmates with summer homes and designer clothes. Or maybe it was when she met Marcus Chen, whose family owned a successful tech company. Marcus was a good man, Diane could see that. But his world was so different from theirs. Diane remembered the conversation 6 months ago when Ashley had announced her engagement. Mom, Marcus proposed. Ashley had been glowing, showing off the diamond ring that probably cost more than Diane made in a year. We're getting married next summer. That's wonderful, baby, Diane had said, pulling her daughter into a hug. I'm so happy for you. We're thinking a June wedding. Outdoor reception, maybe at the Botanical Gardens. Marcus's parents have been so generous. They've offered to help with everything. And that's when Diane had made her decision. Her daughter's wedding would not be paid for by someone else. Not when Diane was still alive and capable of working. This was her gift to give. This was her role as a mother. Actually, honey, Diane had said carefully, I've been saving. I want to contribute. In fact, I'd like to cover the wedding costs. All of it. Ashley had looked surprised, then skeptical. Mom, you don't have to do that. I know money's tight for you. I've been putting money aside, Diane lied smoothly. I want to do this. Please let me do this for you. Ashley had hugged her, tears in her eyes. Thank you, Mom. You're the best. But as the months passed and Ashley's wedding plans grew more elaborate, Diane noticed something troubling. Her daughter had started treating her differently. Making small comments about Diane's clothes, her job, her appearance. Nothing overtly cruel, but enough to sting. Mom, maybe you could get your hair done professionally before the wedding, Ashley had suggested last week. You know, at a real salon. I can recommend someone. Or, you should probably not mention that you work as a custodian when you meet Marcus's extended family. Maybe just say you work at the hospital. Each comment was a small cut. But Diane told herself it didn't matter. Ashley was just stressed about the wedding. She'd return to her old self afterward. She had to. A mother's love means giving everything and expecting nothing in return. Diane arrived home at her small apartment in South Side Chicago just after 3:30 in the morning. The building was old, the paint peeling, the stairs creaking. But it was clean and it was hers. She'd lived here since her husband Robert died 15 years ago. Robert. She thought about him often, especially lately. He died in a construction accident when Ashley was only 11 years old. No life insurance. No savings. Just medical bills and funeral costs that had wiped out everything they'd managed to build. Diane had been 41 years old, suddenly alone with a grieving daughter and an empty bank account. She'd taken the first job she could find, cleaning offices at night. Then she'd added a second job at the grocery store. She'd worked every holiday, every birthday, every moment she could to make sure Ashley had food, clothes, a chance at a good education. And it had worked. Ashley had gotten that scholarship. She'd graduated with honors. She'd landed a good job at a marketing firm. She was marrying a wonderful man from a good family. So why did Diane feel like she'd lost her daughter along the way? She lay down on her bed without changing clothes. She had 2 hours and 15 minutes before she had to leave for the catering company. She set 3 alarms, she couldn't afford to oversleep, and closed her eyes. Sleep came instantly, heavy and dreamless. The sleep of someone who'd pushed their body beyond its limits. When the alarms went off at 5:45, Diane dragged herself up. Her body protested every movement. Her head pounded. But she got up anyway. She had breakfast trays to prepare. She had a daughter's dream wedding to pay for. 6 months later, the day had finally arrived. June 14th. Ashley's wedding day. Diane stood in her small bedroom, looking at herself in the mirror. She'd lost weight over the past months, weight she couldn't afford to lose. Her cheekbones were too prominent now, her collarbones jutting out above the neckline of her dress. The navy blue mother of the bride dress that Ashley had picked out hung loose on her frame. She tried to do her hair nicely, but her hands had been shaking with exhaustion. She tried to apply makeup to hide the dark circles under her eyes, but nothing could completely cover them. "You look beautiful," she told her reflection, trying to believe it. Her phone buzzed. A text from Ashley, "Mom, where are you? We need to take photos in 20 minutes." Diane grabbed her purse and rushed out the door. The wedding was being held at the Chicago Botanic Garden, a beautiful venue with manicured lawns and flowering trees. It was the kind of place Diane had only seen in magazines. The kind of place that cost more to rent for one day than Diane made in 3 months. But she'd paid for it. Every penny. When Diane arrived at the garden, she found Ashley in the bridal suite, surrounded by bridesmaids in matching lavender dresses. Ashley looked stunning in her white gown, her hair swept up in an elegant style, professional makeup making her look like a model. "Mom!" Ashley turned, and for a moment, Diane saw her little girl again. But then Ashley's smile faltered slightly as she took in Diane's appearance. "You made it. Did you do something different with your hair?" "I tried," Diane said, suddenly self-conscious. "Is it okay?" One of the bridesmaids, Courtney, a girl from Ashley's college who came from old money, looked Diane up and down. The assessment in her eyes was clear, not impressed. "It's fine, Mom," Ashley said quickly. "We just need to take some pictures before the ceremony. The photographer is waiting." The next hour was a blur of photos. Ashley with her bridesmaids. Ashley with Marcus. Ashley with Marcus's family, his parents David and Susan Chen, elegant and warm. They greeted Diane kindly, not knowing she was the one who'd actually paid for their son's wedding. Finally, the photographer called for mother-daughter photos. Diane stood beside Ashley, trying to smile naturally. But Ashley's body language was stiff, her smile forced. She kept glancing toward where her friends were watching. "Can we make this quick?" Ashley whispered to the photographer. "We have a lot of other photos to take." Diane felt the words like a slap. But she kept smiling. This was Ashley's day. Ashley's moment. What Diane felt didn't matter. After the photos, Ashley pulled Diane aside. Her expression was serious, almost stern. "Mom, I need to ask you something," Ashley said, her voice low. "At the reception tonight, during the cocktail hour, could you maybe just stay in the background? Not, like, disappear or anything. But just. I have a lot of Marcus's parents' friends coming. Important people. Business contacts. And I just think it would be better if I didn't embarrass you," Diane finished quietly. "That's not what I meant." Ashley's face flushed. "I just meant, you know how you are sometimes. You talk about work and stuff. These people don't really, they wouldn't understand. They'd think it's weird that you clean for a living." Diane looked at her daughter, this woman she'd raised alone, this person she'd sacrificed everything for, and felt something crack inside her chest. "I understand," Diane said, her voice carefully neutral. "I'll stay in the background." "Thank you." Ashley squeezed her hand quickly, then rushed off to join her bridesmaids. Diane stood alone in the hallway of the Gardens Event Center, fighting back tears. She'd worked 3 jobs for 6 months to pay for this day. She'd given up sleep, health, everything. And her daughter wanted her to stay in the background. "Mrs. Mitchell." Diane turned to find Marcus standing there, handsome in his tuxedo. He was looking at her with concern. "Are you all right?" he asked gently. Diane forced a smile. "Of course. Just emotional. My baby's getting married." Marcus smiled, but his eyes were still worried. "I want to thank you," he said. "For raising such an amazing woman. Ashley she's everything to me." "Take care of her," Diane said, meaning it. Marcus was a good man. He didn't deserve what his bride had become. But maybe marriage would change Ashley back. Maybe love would remind her of what really mattered. The ceremony was beautiful. Diane sat in the front row, Ashley had at least allowed that, and watched her daughter marry the man she loved. When Ashley said her vows, her voice clear and strong, Diane cried. Not just from happiness, but from exhaustion and heartbreak and a complex tangle of emotions she couldn't name. Then came the reception. The botanic garden was transformed into something from a fairy tale. White lights strung through the trees. Tables decorated with elaborate flower arrangements. A live band setting up on a stage. Wait staff in black and white circulating with champagne and hors d'oeuvres. Diane had paid for every bit of it. She found her seat at a table near the back, not at the head table with the wedding party, not even at a table with Marcus's parents. She was seated with some distant relative she'd never met and a few random guests who didn't fit anywhere else. "You're the bride's mother?" asked an elderly woman next to her, surprised. "Why aren't you sitting up front?" There wasn't room, Diane lied smoothly. She watched as Ashley and Marcus made their grand entrance to applause and cheers. She watched as they had their first dance, looking perfect together. She watched as Marcus danced with his mother, their bond obvious and beautiful. Then the DJ announced, and now, the bride will dance with her mother. This was Diane's moment. The one dance she'd been looking forward to for months. She stood up, her legs shaky, and made her way to the dance floor. Ashley met her there, her smile bright for the cameras but not quite reaching her eyes. The song began, A Song for Mama, by Boys II Men. Diane had chosen it weeks ago, remembering how Ashley used to love this song as a little girl. They began to sway together, and for a moment, Diane felt close to her daughter again. She pulled Ashley closer, breathing in the scent of her perfume, feeling the smooth fabric of the expensive wedding dress. "I'm so proud of you, baby," Diane whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "So proud of the woman you've become." Ashley's response was stiff. "Thanks, Mom. I love you so much. You know that, don't you? Everything I've ever done has been for you." "I know, Mom." Ashley's eyes were scanning the room, looking at the guests watching them. Her smile was fixed, performative. Diane felt dizzy suddenly. The room seemed to tilt. She'd eaten so little today, just a piece of toast this morning. She'd been too nervous to eat. And the past 6 months of brutal work schedule had caught up with her. "Are you okay?" Ashley asked, but her tone suggested annoyance rather than concern. "I'm fine," Diane lied. "Just emotional." The song ended. Ashley stepped back immediately, eager to return to her friends. She gave Diane a quick hug, the kind you'd give an acquaintance, not your mother, and walked away. Diane stood alone on the dance floor for a moment as other guests moved in for the next dance. She felt invisible. She felt used. She felt like she might collapse. "I just need some air," she muttered to no one in particular. She made her way toward the edge of the reception area, toward a quieter spot near the gardens. But the world was spinning now. Her vision was blurring. Her legs weren't working right. She heard someone call her name. Saw people turning to look. And then the ground was rushing up to meet her. Diane Mitchell collapsed in the middle of her daughter's wedding reception. The last thing she heard before everything went black was Ashley's voice, sharp and angry. "Oh my God. Not now. Not now." Diane woke to the sound of beeping. Steady, rhythmic beeping. And the smell of antiseptic. She knew these sounds, these smells. She worked in a hospital, after all. But she wasn't supposed to be in a hospital bed. She was supposed to be at Ashley's wedding. Her eyes fluttered open. Harsh fluorescent lights. White ceiling tiles. And 4 in her arm. A monitor beside her bed showing her heart rate, her blood pressure. "She's waking up," a voice said. A nurse, not Gloria, someone younger, leaned over her. "Mrs. Mitchell? Can you hear me?" "Yes," Diane croaked. Her throat was dry. "What happened?" "You collapsed at your daughter's wedding. The paramedics brought you in about an hour ago." The nurse checked the 4, made a note on a chart. "The doctor will be in shortly to talk to you. Just rest for now." Diane tried to sit up, but her body wouldn't cooperate. She was so tired. More tired than she'd ever been in her life. "My daughter," Diane said. "Ashley. Is she here?" "She's in the waiting room," the nurse said. "I'll let her know you're awake." The nurse left, and Diane was alone. She stared at the ceiling, trying to piece together what had happened. She remembered the wedding. The dance. Feeling dizzy. And then nothing. She'd collapsed. At Ashley's wedding. In front of all those important people Ashley had been so worried about. Oh no. Oh God. Ashley must be so upset. Diane heard voices outside her room. The door was slightly ajar, and sound carried clearly in the quiet hospital corridor. "Can't believe she did this to me." That was Ashley's voice, high and angry. "On my day. Ashley, your mom is in the hospital." Another voice, one of the bridesmaids. "Courtney, maybe. Shouldn't you be more worried about whether she's okay? She'll be fine. She's just being dramatic." Ashley's voice was sharp, dismissive. But everyone saw. All of Marcus's parents' friends, all the business people I've been trying to impress. They all saw my mother collapse like some kind of. Like some kind of what, Ashley? That was Gloria's voice now, hard and angry. Diane's heart sank. Gloria must have heard about the collapse and come to the hospital. "I didn't mean it like that," Ashley backpedaled. "I just meant, the timing. Why did it have to happen now? My wedding is ruined." "Your wedding is ruined." Gloria's voice rose. "Your mother just collapsed from exhaustion and you're worried about your wedding. She's fine, isn't she? The paramedics said it wasn't serious. Just low blood sugar or something." "Low blood sugar," Gloria repeated, her voice dripping with contempt. "Ashley, when was the last time you actually looked at your mother? I mean really looked at her? She's wasted away to nothing. She's been working herself to death. That's not fair. Mom has always worked hard. That's just who she is. Working hard." Gloria laughed, but there was no humor in it. Ashley, your mother has been working 3 jobs for the past 6 months. Did you know that? Silence. Diane's heart pounded in her chest. No. No, Gloria, don't. What are you talking about? Ashley's voice was uncertain now. Mom works at the hospital and the grocery store. That's 2 jobs. And at a catering company. Preparing breakfast trays at 5 in the morning, then her shift at the grocery store, then her night shift at the hospital. 3 jobs. 18-hour days. For 6 months straight. Why would she? That doesn't make sense. Doesn't it? Gloria's voice was cutting. Think, Ashley. Think about who paid for your wedding. Another silence, longer this time. Diane closed her eyes, tears sliding down her cheeks. Marcus's parents paid for the wedding, Ashley said, but her voice was shaky. They offered to help. Is that what your mother told you? Yes. She said they insisted. She lied, Gloria said flatly. Your mother paid for every single penny of your wedding. The venue. The flowers. The dress. The food. The band. All of it. And to do that, she had to work 3 jobs. She hadn't slept more than 4 hours a night in 6 months. She's been starving herself because she was spending everything on your wedding instead of food. And you just called her dramatic. Diane heard a sound, maybe Ashley gasping, maybe someone else. But the conversation continued. That can't be true, Ashley said, but she sounded like she was trying to convince herself. Mom doesn't have that kind of money. She's a custodian. Exactly, Gloria said. She's a custodian. And a grocery store cashier. And a catering assistant. And she worked all 3 of those jobs, every single day, destroying her health, so that you could have your dream wedding. And you repaid her by telling her to stay in the background so she wouldn't embarrass you. How did you? Ashley started. She told me, Gloria interrupted. She told me everything. How you've been ashamed of her. How you didn't want Marcus's family to know what she does for a living. How you treated her like an embarrassment instead of the woman who sacrificed everything for you. I never said she was an embarrassment. You didn't have to say it. Your actions said it loud enough. You don't understand, Ashley's voice was rising, defensive. I have a life now. A career. I'm marrying into a wealthy family. Things are different for me than they were growing up. I can't just. Can't just what? Acknowledge your own mother. The woman who raised you alone after your father died. Who worked herself to the bone so you could have opportunities she never had. What, exactly, can't you do, Ashley? Diane heard footsteps, someone pacing, maybe. I'm going to show you something, Gloria said. There was the rustle of papers. These are your mother's work schedules for the past 6 months. Every shift, every hour, documented. And these are receipts. Every payment she made for your wedding. The deposit on the venue. The florist. The caterer. Your dress, do you know how much your dress cost, Ashley? $15,000. Your mother paid for that. In installments, because she couldn't afford it all at once. Stop, Ashley said, her voice breaking. Just stop. Why? Does the truth hurt? Good. It should hurt. Your mother is lying in a hospital bed because she literally worked herself into collapse for you. And your first concern was that she embarrassed you. I didn't know. Ashley was crying now. I didn't know she was paying for everything. I really thought Marcus's parents were helping. Because you didn't ask, Gloria said, her voice softening slightly. You didn't ask because you didn't want to know. It was easier to believe someone else was taking care of it. Easier than facing the fact that your mother, the woman you've been treating like a shameful secret, was sacrificing everything for you. Again. There was a long silence. Diane heard Ashley crying, heard another voice, one of the bridesmaids, trying to comfort her. Then a new voice joined the conversation. Marcus. Is this true? His voice was quiet, controlled, but Diane could hear the anger underneath. Ashley, is what she's saying true? You knew your mother was working multiple jobs. You knew she was struggling. And you let her pay for our wedding anyway. I didn't know about the third job, Ashley said through tears. And I thought your parents were contributing. My parents offered to pay for everything, Marcus interrupted. I told you that. But you said no, you said your mother wanted to contribute, and I respected that. But I thought contribute meant like $10,000 or $20,000. Not the entire $80,000 wedding. $80,000, someone gasped. Your mother paid $80,000. Marcus's voice was rising now. While working as a custodian. Ashley, how did you think that was possible? I don't know. I didn't think about it. Exactly, Marcus said, and the disappointment in his voice was worse than anger. You didn't think about it. You didn't think about where the money was coming from or what it was costing your mother. You just took it. Like you were entitled to it. That's not fair, Ashley protested. I'm her daughter. She wanted to do this for me. Did she? Marcus asked. Or did you just assume she'd figure it out because that's what she's always done? Figured it out. Sacrificed. Made it work. And you took that for granted. Diane heard Ashley sobbing harder now. I need to see her, Ashley said. I need to apologize. No, Gloria said firmly. Not yet. Right now, your mother needs rest. And you need to think about what you've done. You need to really understand what your selfishness has cost. She's my mother, Ashley said. I have a right. You have a right to nothing, Gloria shot back. You gave up the right to call yourself her daughter the moment you told her to stay in the background at a wedding she paid for. Now go. Go back to your reception. Go celebrate your marriage. And think about whether you deserve a mother like Diane Mitchell. Footsteps. The sound of people walking away. And then silence. Diane opened her eyes, tears streaming down her face. She stared at the ceiling, her heart broken in a way she'd never experienced before. She'd known Ashley had changed. She'd known her daughter was embarrassed by her. But hearing it spoken out loud, hearing Ashley's first concern was her ruined wedding and not her mother's health, that hurt more than Diane thought anything could hurt. The door opened. A doctor walked in, a young African-American woman with kind eyes and a professional manner. Mrs. Mitchell, I'm Dr. Stevens, she said, checking the chart at the foot of Diane's bed. How are you feeling? Tired, Diane said honestly. I'm not surprised. Dr. Stevens pulled up a chair and sat down, her expression serious. Mrs. Mitchell, you collapsed due to severe exhaustion and malnutrition. Your blood sugar was dangerously low. Your blood pressure was through the roof. You're showing signs of extreme physical stress. I've been working a lot, Diane said weakly. Working a lot is an understatement, Dr. Stevens said. Based on what your friend told us about your schedule, you've been operating on minimal sleep, minimal food, and maximum stress for months. Your body has basically shut down. If you'd kept going much longer, you could have had a heart attack or a stroke. Diane absorbed this information numbly. But I'll be okay. With rest, yes. But Mrs. Mitchell, you can't go back to that schedule. Your body can't take it. You need to cut back your hours. Significantly. I will, Diane said. After the wedding, I was planning to quit the third job anyway. The wedding is over, Dr. Stevens said gently. Now it's time to take care of yourself. After the doctor left, Diane lay in the hospital bed, staring at the ceiling. The wedding was over. She'd done it. She'd given Ashley her dream day. And it had cost her everything. Not just her health. Not just her savings. But something more important, her relationship with her daughter. Or maybe she'd lost that long before today. Maybe she'd lost it gradually, over months and years, as Ashley had slowly transformed from a grateful child into a woman who valued appearances over love. The door opened again. This time it was Gloria, her face still tight with anger but her eyes soft with concern. You heard, Diane said. It wasn't a question. I'm sorry, Gloria said, sitting in the chair beside the bed. I shouldn't have confronted her like that where you could hear. But I couldn't. I couldn't let her stand out there and complain about her ruined wedding when you were in here because of her. She didn't know, Diane said. About the money. About the 3 jobs. She didn't want to know, Gloria corrected. There's a difference. Diane closed her eyes. I'm so tired, Gloria. I know, honey. I know. I thought if I could give her this perfect wedding, if I could show her that I was capable of providing something beautiful, something worthy of her new life. I thought maybe she'd see me differently. Maybe she'd be proud of me instead of ashamed. Oh, Diane. Gloria took her hand, squeezing gently. You have nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing. You raised a beautiful, successful daughter on your own. You worked your fingers to the bone to give her opportunities. You sacrificed everything. If Ashley can't see that, if she can't appreciate that, that's her failing, not yours. She's my daughter, Diane whispered. I love her so much. But I don't think I know her anymore. When did she become someone who cares more about what people think than about her own mother's well-being? I don't. Continue. No, Gloria said honestly. But maybe this will be a wake-up call. Maybe she needed to hear the truth. Maybe now she'll realize what she's been taking for granted. Or maybe, Diane said, opening her eyes and looking at her friend, maybe I've been enabling her. Maybe by constantly sacrificing, by never asking for anything in return, by never expecting her to appreciate what I've done, maybe I taught her that my sacrifices don't matter. That I don't matter. Gloria was quiet for a moment. What are you going to do? I don't know, Diane said. But I can't keep doing this. I can't keep giving everything and getting nothing back. I almost died today, Gloria. And my daughter's first thought was that I embarrassed her. You deserve better, Gloria said firmly. I know, Diane said. And for the first time in a very long time, she actually believed it. 3 days later, Diane was released from the hospital with strict orders to rest. No work for at least 2 weeks. A referral to a nutritionist. Instructions to see a therapist about stress management. Gloria drove her home to her small apartment. The place felt different somehow, smaller, emptier. Or maybe Diane was different. Maybe almost dying had changed her perspective on everything. Her phone had been blowing up with messages. Most from Gloria checking in. Several from co-workers at the hospital and grocery store asking if she was okay. One from her supervisor at the catering company, annoyed that she'd missed her shifts. And dozens from Ashley. Diane hadn't read them. Hadn't listened to the voicemails. She wasn't ready. You have to talk to her eventually, Gloria said, helping Diane into her apartment and setting her small bag on the couch. I know, Diane said. Just not yet. She's been calling me too, Gloria said. Crying. Apologizing. She says she didn't understand. That she wants to make things right. Words are easy, Diane said, sinking into her worn armchair. Actions are what matter. Gloria sat across from her, studying her face. You've changed, she observed. In just 3 days. Something's different. Diane thought about this. I think I finally ran out, she said slowly. I've spent 26 years putting Ashley first. Every decision, every sacrifice, every moment of my life has been about making sure she had what she needed. And somewhere along the way, I forgot that I matter too. That my needs are valid. That love shouldn't mean destroying yourself for someone else. Diane Mitchell, are you telling me you're finally going to put yourself first? Diane smiled, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. I'm telling you I'm going to try. That afternoon, Diane finally read Ashley's messages. Mom, please answer. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know about the money. Please talk to me. I need to explain. Mom, I'm coming over. We need to talk. Diane typed out a reply, I'm not ready to see you yet. I need time to think. The response was almost immediate, please don't shut me out. I know I messed up but please give me a chance to apologize properly. Diane stared at her phone for a long time before typing, you called me an embarrassment. At a wedding I paid for. That I worked myself sick to give you. And your first concern when I collapsed wasn't my health, it was your ruined day. I need time to process that. There was a long pause before Ashley responded, I know. I'm so sorry. I hate myself for what I said, for how I've been treating you. Please let me come over. Please. Against her better judgment, Diane typed, tomorrow. 2 p.m. And bring Marcus. He deserves to hear this too. The next day, at exactly 2 p.m., there was a knock on Diane's door. She opened it to find Ashley standing there, looking nothing like the perfect bride from a week ago. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. She wore jeans and a simple t-shirt. No makeup. No pretense. Behind her stood Marcus, his expression serious but sympathetic. "Mom," Ashley said, her voice breaking. "Mom, I'm so sorry." Diane stepped back, letting them in. Her small apartment had never seemed smaller than it did with Marcus standing in it. He was used to penthouses and mansions. But if he felt uncomfortable, he didn't show it. He looked around with genuine interest, his eyes landing on the photos on Diane's wall, pictures of Ashley through the years, from a gap-toothed first grader to a high school graduate to a college student. "Sit," Diane said, gesturing to the couch. Ashley and Marcus sat close together, hands intertwined. Diane took her chair across from them, maintaining her distance. "Thank you for seeing us," Marcus said. "Mrs. Mitchell, I want to start by saying that I had no idea about any of this. If I had known you were working 3 jobs to pay for our wedding, I never would have allowed it. My parents and I would have happily covered everything." "I know," Diane said. "This wasn't about you, Marcus. You're a good man. This is about Ashley and me." Ashley flinched at her mother's words, or more accurately, at the distance in her mother's tone. "Mom, I don't know where to start," Ashley said, tears already falling. "I've been thinking about everything for the past week. About how I've treated you. About all the things I said and did. And I'm ashamed. I'm so ashamed." "You should be," Diane said simply. Ashley nodded, wiping her eyes. "You're right. I was selfish and cruel and ungrateful. I got so caught up in fitting into Marcus's world that I forgot where I came from. I forgot what you sacrificed to get me there." "You didn't forget," Diane said quietly. "You remembered. That's why you wanted me to stay in the background. You remembered exactly where you came from, and you were ashamed of it." "Yes," Ashley admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "Yes, I was ashamed. And that's the worst part. I was ashamed of you. The woman who gave up everything for me. Who worked herself literally to death so I could have a perfect wedding. How could I be so blind?" "You saw what you wanted to see," Diane said. "You saw my jobs as an embarrassment instead of evidence of my love for you. You saw my sacrifices as something to hide instead of something to honor." "I know," Ashley sobbed. "I know, and I can't take it back. I can't undo what I said or how I made you feel. But Mom, please believe me when I say I never wanted you to work yourself sick. I never wanted you to suffer. I got lost. I got caught up in wanting to impress people who don't even matter." Marcus spoke up. "Mrs. Mitchell, after we left the hospital that night, I told Ashley that I needed some time to think. Because the woman I married, the woman I thought I knew, wouldn't treat her mother that way. The Ashley I fell in love with was kind and caring and humble. And I needed to understand how she becomes someone who could be so cruel to the person who loved her most." Ashley was crying harder now. Marcus almost called off the wedding. Or, not called it off, but postponed it. He said we needed to figure out who we were as people before we could be married. "I told her," Marcus continued, "that the foundation of any relationship is respect. And if she couldn't respect her own mother, the woman who raised her alone, who sacrificed everything for her, then I wasn't sure she was capable of the kind of partnership I wanted in a marriage." Diane looked at Marcus with new appreciation. "You're wise for your age." "My parents taught me to value family above all else," Marcus said. "They taught me that how you treat the people who have power over you means nothing. It's how you treat the people you have power over that reveals who you really are. And Ashley had power over you, Mrs. Mitchell. The power of your unconditional love. And she abused that power." Ashley was openly sobbing now. I did abuse it. And I don't know how to make it right." Diane was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was steady but firm. Ashley, I need you to understand something. I forgive you. I will always forgive you because you're my daughter and I love you. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending this didn't happen. And it doesn't mean our relationship can go back to the way it was. What does it mean? Ashley asked, her voice small. It means we have to rebuild, Diane said. From the ground up. No more assumptions that I'll always be there to sacrifice myself for you. No more taking my love for granted. If you want me in your life, really in your life, not just as some background figure you're ashamed of, then things have to change. They will, Ashley said immediately. I swear they will. Just tell me what you need. Tell me how to fix this. Diane pulled out a folder she'd prepared. Inside were documents, her work schedules, her bank statements, receipts from the wedding expenses. I want you to look at these, Diane said, handing the folder to Ashley. I want you to see exactly what your wedding cost. Not just in dollars, but in hours. In sleep. In health. I want you to really understand what I gave up for you. Ashley opened the folder with shaking hands. Her eyes scanned the pages, and with each one, her face grew paler. 18-hour days, she whispered. 6 days a week. For 6 months. 7 days a week, Diane corrected. I worked Sundays at the catering company too. Ashley looked up, her face stricken. You never had a day off. Not one day in 6 months. No, Diane confirmed. I didn't. The dress alone, Ashley ran her finger down a receipt, $15,000. Paid in 12 installments because you couldn't afford it all at once. Mom, I didn't even really like that dress. Courtney said I should get it because it was designer. I let you pay $15,000 for a dress I didn't even love because someone I barely know said it was what I should wear. She kept reading, her horror growing with each page. The flowers, $8,000. The venue, $25,000. The catering, $18,000. The photographer, the videographer, the band, the invitations, each expense carefully documented, each one paid by a woman who made minimum wage at 2 of her 3 jobs. $82,347, Ashley read the final total. You spent $82,000. Mom, you would have had to work for years to save that much money normally. How did you even? I borrowed some of it, Diane admitted. I have a loan I'll be paying off for the next 5 years. But most of it came from those 6 months of working 3 jobs. Ashley reached into her bag and pulled out a notebook. A simple spiral notebook. What is it? Diane asked. Open it. Diane opened the notebook and found page after page of handwriting. Ashley's handwriting. Dear Mom, I've been thinking about all the things I never thanked you for. All the sacrifices I took for granted. So I'm going to write them all down. The list went on for pages. Every sacrifice, big and small, that Diane had made over the years. By the time Diane finished reading, tears were streaming down her face. Come here, Diane said softly. Ashley moved from the couch to Diane's chair, and for the first time since the wedding, Diane pulled her daughter into a real hug. Ashley sobbed into her mother's shoulder. I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. I know, Diane whispered. I know you are. And we're going to be okay. I hope Ashley and Diane's story moved you as much as it moved me to tell it. This is a story about sacrifice and gratitude, about taking people for granted, and about finding your way back when you've lost yourself. If you're a parent watching this, remember, your children need your presence more than your presence. They need you healthy and whole, not martyred and exhausted. And if you're a son or daughter, ask yourself, when was the last time I truly thanked my parents? When was the last time I showed them I see them, I appreciate them, I value them? Don't wait until it's too late. Please hit the like button if this story touched your heart. Subscribe to Black Tales every day for more powerful stories. And drop a comment, where are you watching from? Have you ever taken someone's sacrifice for granted? Remember, the people who love us most are often the ones we hurt most. Don't be Ashley before her wake-up call. Be Ashley after. Until next time, choose gratitude over entitlement, and love that builds up rather than tears down. Take care of each other.